This program is a collaboration of personal opinions and individual free thought. It does not represent the views or narrative of the mainstream corporate media hacks. Viewer discretion is advised.
Here we go.
Live from the bell tower, taking a stand for your rights, your liberties, and all the bullshit in between. You're listening to Ring the Bell Podcast.
I can't. Yes, you did not. Huh. Can you hear me? You can hear me. Yeah. Check. Check.
Hello, can you hear me now? I lost a channel on my board apparently.
What the hell?
Check. Well, it's a good thing I got 8 other channels. That's why I opted for extra channels, I guess, in case one just decides to go away.
Like that
just
one.
like gone. Yeah, now I don't know what I'm gonna do having a channel completely gone. Let me re-EQ myself now. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Break the Bell podcast. We are only 49 hours late, and apparently that is at least too much because nobody is here live. Yeah, usually I got people jumping in and giving a shit for being late. So we're here, though. That's all that matters.
Yes, they might be sleeping it off.
It might be like post-Halloween sleep.
Yeah, Halloween took a toll on
Maybe
a lot.
that's it. That's got to be.
I'd be sleeping.
Yeah, me too. I'm really concerned about why that channel didn't work.
Well, that is really bizarre.
It is, but I mean, that's channel 1. How do you lose channel 1? Now things are flopped. I'm on channel 3. I'm not.
Weird.
I'm used to channel 1.
Yeah.
We're 49 hours late, and now I got this madness to worry about here. And like, I'm gonna hyperfixate. I'm gonna hyperfixate.
Yeah, you are.
That's all.
It's
I'm
gonna
just
bother
gonna be
you
like,
the whole night.
why the fuck is that channel not
Yeah.
working? But at least it wasn't the mic cable, so I could. And at
That's
least,
true.
like I said, I opted for a 12-channel board, which I was like, that is way too freaking much. But now I've got one we're using 2 for me and you, 1 for the sound.
Mm-hmm.
That still leaves us with what, like 9 channels?
Yes.
In case
someday
one
we'll
goes
be
bad?
on channel 10, 11, and 12.
Well, 12 is the music, so hopefully we don't
okay.
ever lose channel 12. I mean, the board's held up. We've been doing this for how long now? 3 years. I think I've had the board for 2, and it probably doesn't help that I never power the thing down.
3.5 years.
You are here to listen to me bitch about channel 1 going bad on my board. I'm just like looking at all the settings to see if there is something wrong. Now I'm gonna just time out because I am gonna fix it on it. Hello. Hey,
You're back.
I'm back.
You just needed a reset.
I must have. That's really
I always
weird.
made the joke that this was our Halloween, spooky Halloween show because you look like a disembodied head with your black sweatshirt and black.
Yeah, you like that? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So we're late.
Yes.
We had temporary issues
Yes.
apparently that corrected themselves. I don't know what happened,
Yeah,
but
it's fixed.
It's
now.
back
It's
now.
fixed
So we
Yes.
got channel 1 back. So
Yes.
you all can rest easy
Yes.
because I know you were freaking out about it.
I was. I was really bothered by that.
I was too, clearly.
Yes.
Tonight, we're late. So
Well, you had to work Monday night, and then Tuesday is Halloween.
Yeah,
So we couldn't go Halloween. My
once
kids would be
again,
pissed.
I'm going to make this promise to you that
Don't make that
no,
promise.
I'm going to make this promise to you that
I have to be in Omaha next Monday
there's
night.
probably not going to be. It's probably not. We're never going to be to the point where we're keeping our promises.
Yes.
So, where are you going to Omaha?
I have to
for?
work.
In Omaha.
Yes, I have to go.
Nobody likes Nebraska.
I know. I have to go do a couple restaurants out there.
So you're not going to be here next Monday? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So Bill won't be here next Monday.
I can go Tuesday next week, though.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if I can handle Tuesday.
Understood. Just don't do Wednesday.
I guess apparently not. There's nobody here. That's why we're just rambling to ourselves. Hopefully people start to show up. If not, you're going to miss out on this one, I guess. Tonight, I was another reason why I wasn't too concerned about not going Monday night is there's just nothing. I mean, there's plenty going on, but it's all the same shit. We've talked about Israel twice now, and we even had a week off between there.
Yeah.
So we did Israel, took a week off, did some Israel shit last week.
Yeah.
And then this week you pull up the news, and guess what all the news is about?
Yeah.
It's about Israel. It's about freaking Israel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tonight I'm like, we're not gonna hit like one main topic. We're gonna kind of go into like a grab bag of shit topics.
Kind of like how we used to do our weekend updates.
Yeah, exactly. Or weekend wrap ups that
Yes.
we haven't done in a while. Maybe we'll have to get back into that now that I actually have weekends free. But we'll see if the news actually starts to pick up, because I don't want to come on and be like, this week in the news, Israel's blowing the shit out of Gaza again.
Between being on the verge of World War III, between Israel and Gaza and Ukraine and Russia, it's like,
is there
everybody's fixated.
Yeah, is there anything else going on?
I mean, what else can they throw in there?
I don't know.
Well, and plus all the stuff that the government's doing that we can't see because we're all fixated on the other stuff, right?
It's true. Well, one thing that all of my grab bag topics kind of have in common is mental issues, like mental decline, because we're talking about Matthew Perry's untimely. Well, I mean, can you really call it untimely?
Not really. I think everybody pretty much knew he'd be the first to go of that group.
Yeah, and then we haven't talked about the Maine shooting yet.
No, we haven't.
And that happened early last week?
Yes. Yeah.
The week before. I can't keep track of fucking time anymore.
It was like early last week.
So we got to discuss the conspiracy theories around Chandler Bing's death, because apparently there are some.
There are some, yes.
We've got to talk about there's weird cover-ups with this Maine shooting.
I haven't heard of those.
Yeah, it's just kind of, it's stuff that they kind of slide in there, and you're just like, wait, what the fuck was that? Kind of like not disclosing certain medical information to the public about this guy, like intentionally, like, oh, we didn't say anything about a psychiatrist. What makes you think he was seeing a psychiatrist? It's like, well, first of all, he's fucking crazy,
right?
Like batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And there's other reasons to believe that, like he was seeing, like he was committed, which means he at some point was seeing a psychiatrist. He was probably, have you heard, was he on an FBI watch list?
I haven't heard that. No.
I know he was like being tracked, like there was a lot of warning signals for this
and
guy,
there always is
for the last like several years. He was an Army reservist.
Yeah.
The Army took his guns away because like wouldn't let him carry like a military weapon, because they're like, no, this guy's fucking crazy.
So they just gave him like a fake wooden rifle to carry into battle.
Probably like, yeah, just
let's put him at the front line.
Yeah. And then
his ASVAB score was low.
I don't know. They're like, when it first came out, he was a weapons trainer, and then it came out that he wasn't a weapons trainer. It's like, okay, how do you get that wrong? Like, how do you just miss that information?
Yeah. And well, the only thing I've really heard is, I heard somebody say like, well, usually we'd be talking about gun control, but apparently this guy stole the guns he wasn't supposed to have anyways, and so we can't really go there.
Oh, so the shit that we've been saying for years, it's like gun laws don't matter when criminals want guns. They're going to do other criminal activities to get the guns.
Right.
And then the other thing, again, a third week, but there is some stuff involving the Israel situation. Yes. I mean, not necessarily the Israel war itself, but there's stuff. Speaking of mental decline, some stuff that Biden's kind of dealing with when it comes to the Israel-Gaza war.
Did you hear him come out and speak out against AI recently?
I saw that today, that he had released an executive order trying to get more government control over AI.
Odd to me, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's of all the things to sign an executive order.
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, you know what? This would be safer if the government was controlling it. And it just happens to be leading up to elections too. So no reason to be concerned about that at all. So those are the few things in my stash that I want to pull out. None of them were like full episode worthy, but they all need discussed.
Yeah.
And they all somehow involve mental instability. So I guess we can kind of tie it all together loosely. I don't know. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to get right into the show because I'm probably not going to make this a 2.5 hour show. I mean, it's freaking 8 o'clock, 8:15 Central Standard Time, which means it's earlier for some of you and it's later for some of you. And it's this exact same time for some of you. So make sure you check us out all over social media. Invite your friends and your family. It is really hard to invite them to a live stream when we are so loose with our live stream times lately. We're going to try to tighten this thing up. Yeah. But apparently Bill's going to fuck that up for us next week. So we'll be on the same page soon, hopefully.
Yes.
Or
soon.
we won't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We just all need to be like right here. We need to all be in the zone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why aren't you on the same wavelength as us and joining?
I was.
Yeah, somebody was. Nobody is tonight.
No.
So, like I said, make sure you check us out all over social media. Maybe I should update social media and let people know, hey, this ain't going to go this week or Monday. It's going to go Wednesday. Maybe I should do that. Instead of surprising people, they show up Monday and they're like, hey, where'd everybody go? Oh, there's nobody here. And then Wednesday,
they're waiting for 2 hours for us to come on.
Probably.
And then same on Tuesday night because we usually go on Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, they're like, they will do it this time.
Dad, can I go trick or treat? Shut up. We're waiting for Break the Bell.
Then they're like, you know what? They're not coming this week. And then Wednesday, we're like, surprise, bitches.
Yep.
We're here. Here we are. And
they're like,
crickets. That's okay. We can talk to each other. That's right. What matters. If you're listening in podcast land, join a live episode so we're not here talking to ourselves on a Wednesday night when we've screwed everybody over the rest of the week. You can find all our social media has the handle at Break the Bell Pod. We're on X. We are kind of on Instagram. We just don't do much with it.
Yeah, I try to share the shows on there all the time.
Yeah. Do you share on the actual Break the Bell page? No, oh, okay. So it doesn't fucking matter. I think we should just get right into the show.
Let's do it.
This is going to be a great one. My mic channel already died and revived itself. Yes. We're 49 hours late and might as well just see where this goes, I guess.
Let's go off the rails.
Just go off the rails. Let's just get right into it. All right. We're going to be back in just a minute, and we're going to talk about some mental decline. We'll be right back.
What did you say?
You talking to me?
What the heck are you talking about?
What did you say?
What did you say? What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What are you saying?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Well, maybe he was talking to me.
What did you say?
Talk to me.
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, baby.
What did you just say?
What did you say?
You listen to me. Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
We're back. Wasn't sure if my mic was actually going to. I was preparing myself mentally for it to not.
You're visualizing.
Yeah. I was just like, is it gonna work? It works. We're here. We're back.
Hey,
we're live. We got somebody.
Woo!
We've snagged one. Welcome to the show, whoever you are. Hit us up in the comments. So, let's just get right into it.
Let's do it.
Let's just talk. They're gone. They're like, fuck no.
Yeah, they're like, damn it, they're doing stuff.
Let's just get right into it. Sad news.
Yes.
Probably one of the sadder newses of the week. I mean, yeah, thousands of people are dying across the world. Does that surprise you? No, not really.
That always happens, unfortunately.
Chandler Bing died on Saturday.
Yes. Were you a Friends guy?
I love Friends, yes.
Yeah?
I've seen it probably 6 or 8 times all the way through.
Oh, wow.
And Chandler was always my favorite. Well, it's one of those, like, when you had, like, normal TV and not cable TV back in the day.
Gotcha.
You just turn on the TV and that's just always, I mean, always on. How many Friends marathons have been on, like, whatever channel or what? Like, you go to a hotel, you're flipping through, there's nothing good on. You find the Friends marathon and it just plays on in the background. Every time. It seems like every time I go to a hotel, there's a Friends marathon on the
I
channel.
have not watched the series all the way through.
You're an idiot.
Friends came on when I hit my 20s. And
Look,
I was out
didn't,
partying.
Okay, I
didn't
didn't watch Friends.
TV.
I didn't watch Friends until I was in my 20s. I watched it all rerun.
Oh, okay.
I never watched really because I was young.
Yeah.
Derek's here.
Derek,
we already did the math for you. It's been 49 hours. We're late. We know. But thanks for joining the show, Derek.
Yes.
But yeah, I think Friends is great.
I like Friends.
It's one of those time period pieces. It's like you go, I mean, nostalgic.
Yeah.
And Chandler was always one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like that
sarcastic,
like tell jokes because you're uncomfortable in a situation. Yeah, I feel like I relate to that quite a bit sometimes. But that's why I do a podcast.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, this one, of all the freaking like Hollywood deaths that I usually don't give a shit about, this one hit me harder than I expected it to.
Really?
Yeah, well, it's probably partially I was like half drunk when I found out.
That's true. Yeah, we were at a party.
And on top of that, I've always quietly been rooting for Matthew Perry because he's always been so open about his addiction struggles. Everybody's known it. He's never pretended to not be dealing with it.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy freaking turned his house into like a rehab center for a while. And then there was the on again, off again relationship. I mean, he's talked about like dealing with alcohol, dealing with prescription drugs, dealing with cocaine. I mean, he's apparently been in rehab like 17 times and like not relapse, but what's it called? Like he's gotten off of it.
Yeah.
He's gotten off of substances like 68 times. So, I mean, yeah, it's not totally surprising, but it's one of those that's just like, oh, wow, that one hits. That one hits harder than some. There's only been 2 times, I think, that I heard that a celebrity died unexpectedly, suicide, drugs, whatever. And it hit me harder than I thought. And one was Matthew Perry and one was Chester Bennington of what the fuck's the name? Linkin Park. There you go. I don't know why, like yes, I do like Linkin Park a lot, but it's just that one hit weird. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think that one was more like never would have seen that one coming, you know?
Yeah.
Like he never seemed like the down type. And then Matthew Perry, on the other hand, was totally the opposite. It's like we all knew it was coming, but we're all like secretly rooting for him to, you know, keep going. And
but the official cause of death on him is drowning.
It's drowning, yeah. But until
who drowns in a jacuzzi?
Well, that's just it. It's like the only time you're going to drown in a jacuzzi is if something happens to cause you to drown in a jacuzzi.
Right.
9 times out of 10, it's like drug or alcohol related. Now, a big part of me wants to believe, like, is just hoping that it comes out that it wasn't like A, suicide, or B, drug related, because of everything that he's dealt with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that it makes a difference. It's not that it brings him back or anything, but I would like to feel that he didn't lose his battle.
Right. Yeah.
Like he's had so many health issues, drug-related health issues. He was in a coma. He's been in multiple comas, I think. He spent like 8 months in a hospital because his like intestine ruptured due to drugs and stuff. Yeah, like they said he was like had a 1% chance of living, and he lived, but he was in a hospital for like 6 or 8 months. So there could be a number of medical things that could, like, I read there was one medical examiner that was just like, well, we're not saying it was drugs or anything yet because they're waiting on toxicology reports. He's like, it very well could have been like the amount of comas and stuff that he's been in. He could have easily stroked out due to the heat of the hot tub, because he's more susceptible to things like that based on his past medical issues. So, again, not that it brings him back. Yes, it's still sad. I would rather not find out than find out that he took his own life or like relapsed on drugs and overdosed, because it's just like I just secretly had hope for this guy that things would work out for him. So
well, you're just hoping it's not drugs.
yes.
Or
So
suicide.
I got an article talking about it. And then obviously we got to get into you brought up, because you're like, we should talk about the conspiracy theories surrounding Matthew Perry's death. I was like,
there's conspiracy
theories?
Yes.
Okay.
It was Phoebe, damn it.
It was definitely, obviously. This one, I gotta pull the article up first. It's titled "Friend Star Matthew Perry Dead at 54." Now, this guy, looking at him, you would not believe he was only 54. I mean, drugs have done a number on him.
Yes, I was going to say, he looked well-aged.
He looks well over 54.
But fortunately, he didn't get all the plastic surgery that Courtney Cox and...
That's true. She's
what's her face? Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer
She
Aniston's
hasn't had as much.
She's not doing too bad.
Yeah.
She's not looking too bad. But Courtney Cox, yeah. I used to think she was okay looking.
Well, she was
not
hot
so much.
until she got all the plastic surgery.
Right. Friend star Matthew Perry dead at 54, found in hot tub at his LA home. It says Friend star Matthew Perry was found dead Saturday in a hot tub in LA. Law enforcement said he was 54. Authorities responded around 4 p.m. to his home, where he was discovered unresponsive. The sources who spoke on a condition of anonymity because the investigation was ongoing did not cite the cause of death. No drugs. Now, this says no drugs were found at the scene.
Yeah.
I've read other ones that say no illegal drugs were found at the scene. Now, his number one addiction problem has been prescription drugs. So that doesn't really mean
and
anything.
then Whitney Houston drowned from prescription drugs.
Yeah. No drugs were found at the scene, sources said, but a source told the Times prescription meds were recovered at the home, and hence toxicology will be part of the investigation. LA Police Captain Scott Williams, who leads the robbery homicide division, is investigating Perry's death, said the cause of death may not be known for some time, but at this point, foul play is not suspected. We are devastated. So this is Warner Brothers says, we're devastated by the passing of our dear friend Matthew Perry. They said in a statement to the Times. Matthew was, I don't care about their what they said.
Yeah, right.
Think the rest of this. Says Saturday evening, yellow and black LAPD crime scene tape blocked off the entrance to Blue Sail Drive, a Tony Street. I'm guessing it's a tiny street. What's a Tony Street?
I don't know. Just
off the Pacific Coast Highway at the crest of a hill with sweeping views of the Pacific Ocean. Shortly after 7 p.m., as multiple helicopters whirred overhead, Perry's mother, Suzanne, and her husband, broadcaster Keith Morrison, arrived on the scene. Morrison declined to comment. LAPD officer at the scene said he had no information and he did not know when any would be forthcoming. So basically, the rest of this is to say, we don't know.
Right.
We don't know anything else. But he was a pleasant and a nice guy, said his neighbors.
Well, that's good.
Now, one thing I did not know about Matthew Perry, which could lead into some of the conspiracy theories, is he grew up with Justin Trudeau. They were like pals.
Oh,
they were buddies because
really?
he's Canadian.
Matthew
And
Perry is.
His real dad, I think, worked under Trudeau Sr., like Justin's dad's administration somehow. And they went to school together.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's a little odd to me.
Canadian Secret Service take him out.
Probably. He knew something on Justin Trudeau that they didn't want to get out. Maybe he knew that he was actually, what's the Cuban guy's name?
Fidel Castro.
Yeah, he's Fidel Castro's son, for real, like his illegitimate bastard son.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Matthew Perry knew that truth about Trudeau as being Castro's son, and they had to take him out.
Damn.
Maybe he was using that as maybe that's how he got on the drugs in the first place.
That
They
could
were
be.
all drugging him up, trying to keep it
like they did with Kanye.
Right, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And then
it was the same fucking guy.
Right, and then he's like, you know what, guys, I'm going clean. Like fuck you are, and they drown him in a freaking hot tub.
Damn.
Also, the secret doesn't come out.
Yeah.
That Justin Trudeau is secretly
Castro's illegitimate son.
Yes, and gay probably. I
Most likely.
don't know. Probably. So I mean, again, he drowned in a hot tub.
Yeah.
That's all we know so far. Like, it came like
what
initial.
Who found him?
What?
Who found him?
He had sent his. All right, so the story is this: like, nobody. like he was in good spirits or
Yeah,
whatever. That's what they
right.
always say. He
Yeah.
just got done playing a 2-hour pickleball game.
Oh, okay.
Like he's been in pickleball.
Sure.
So like his pickleball trainer partner or whatever is like, no, he seemed fine. And then he came home. He sent his assistant out for something for like, I don't know, what do Canadians eat?
Moose
Like-
burgers.
Something like that. Sent him out. Sent the assistant out or housekeeper out. Housekeeper comes back and he's
dead.
he's floating in his
Interesting.
hot tub. Yeah.
Well, at least he wasn't in there a long time. I mean, like boiled.
Hopefully not.
That
Good
would be-
God, man. Now, again, previous medical issues.
Yes. Right. I mean, just playing pickleball. So heart rate elevated, right?
Yeah,
Sweating.
exactly.
Then he goes and sits in a jacuzzi.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
he could have had
who knows what could have happened? His
could have
heart
had heat
totally could have
stroke or
given out.
something. Yeah, exactly. His heart could have just been like, "Fuck this shit."
Yeah,
I'm done.
Right.
Now, initial toxicology report came back and said they didn't find anything, so they're doing further talk.
Okay.
Now, the initial toxicology report tested for like fentanyl
Right.
and what was the other meth?
Okay.
Was it? It's just like, well,
Yeah.
the guy hasn't been known for his fentanyl
Right.
and meth usage.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, they're looking deeper into it,
Huh.
and we might not get that result back for a few weeks. So, I don't know. The fact that he was in good spirits
doesn't mean
much.
Yeah.
The guy lives by his fucking self.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the worst thing. This guy,
Yeah.
who is an addict,
Yeah.
self-professed addict.
Yeah.
He's probably has some depression issues, I would assume.
Probably.
You can tell, like listening to his looking at his face. That guy's depressed.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
he lives by himself. Who knows? He could have been in the best mood, like 100% perfect, and then the housekeeper leaves, and he's like looking at his bubbles in his hot tub, and he's like, I could just sink down in this
And be
and not
done.
come back.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's just. I mean, normal people have that.
Absolutely.
Who was it? Was it Bill Burr that was talking about like he was trying to come up with a way to like not be so angry all the time. He's like, I was at a hotel and I decided to take a bath because that's what women do. They take a bath, they drink wine, they relax and unwind. He's like, filled up the bath. I couldn't do it because every time a guy looks at a bathtub, all they can think about is drowning themselves. a little dark humor, but
Yeah.
I mean, all that to say, he could have been in a great mood when his toes touched the hot tub and then sat for a few minutes.
The guy
It's
had
like-
issues.
Right.
I mean, there's no telling what his actual mindset was.
Now, the conspiracy theories, because
Yeah.
this is sad and it's more fun to talk about the conspiracy theories around it rather than talk about the real problems.
Right.
Like Chandler Bing would do. Let's just joke about it because it's uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
In honor of Matthew Perry, let's
Yes.
just lightheartedly joke about this guy's very sad, dark death because he would want us
He would
to.
want
I
us
feel
to.
Matthew Perry, I feel
Yes.
Chandler Bing would want us to
Yes.
lightheartedly joke about it, or at least talk about conspiracy theories about it.
Absolutely.
So we're going to. Now, this one is the first one that popped up to me. This was a Facebook post by Jason Christoph. No idea who that is.
Sounds Russian.
This one's extremely bizarre. Let me get rid of our like private chats around here. There's me telling you to hurry the fuck up.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So it says, R.I.P. Matthew Perry. As I have said before, watch out for heat. Heat can trigger the payload in the stuff. Now, YouTube, please don't cancel me on this, talking about vaccines and
we're
stuff.
just reading this.
I am reading this guy's post here. That's
Yes.
all I'm doing. I'm not endorsing this post because this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And it's entertaining. But
yes. And that's why we're reading
let me
it.
just preface, we're not endorsing Jason Christoph in any way, shape, or fashion. But we're going to read it anyway. As I've said before, watch out for heat. Heat can trigger the payload in the quote-unquote the stuff. Vaccines is what he's getting at.
Yes.
Heat is an energy source. Really? Did you know heat was
I did
an
not.
energy
Holy
source?
shit.
And so are intense Wi-Fi fields.
Okay. All right.
I
Yeah.
mean, you had me tracking with the heat.
But how would you measure an intense Wi-Fi field?
I mean, aren't they all intense Wi-Fi fields?
Sure.
Right? This is why many athletes and reporters / musicians are going down because of the heat from exercise and close proximity to Wi-Fi fields via wireless mics. Hadn't heard that one.
I hadn't either.
I've heard like the 5G shit.
Yeah,
but I haven't heard about wireless
But
mics.
this hasn't gone to the 5G at all.
No, it's just intense Wi-Fi fields.
Yeah. Okay.
R.I.P. Matthew Perry passed in a hot tub. Likely cause of death is stuff-induced heart attack. He's playing safer than we are.
Yeah,
with this.
right.
From the heat, and of course being propagandized to volunteer for his own delayed removal. The best assassins in ancient times used a delayed poison on their targets, so when their targets passed away, the assassin would be at another castle and would have a rock-hard alibi for not being involved. For info on how to get the stuff out of your system before heat or Wi-Fi sets it off, email info@jchristoph.com.
I don't think I would do that.
He keeps going. Your TV is the modern vampire that many invite over their threshold. Throw out your TV before it attacks you and your loved ones again. Also be aware that testosterone blocks detox of the stuff, and that's why more males are falling. Being a male, Wi-Fi, heat, and taking the stuff, those are the 4 major risk factors.
Huh. Interesting.
What are your thoughts on this? Because now, if he had just been like, you know what, the heat, the athletes, how they get hot, and after they've taken the stuff, they pass out.
That's
and
all he
stuff.
would have to say. If he said that, it would be more legitimate to me than
And, yeah, I'd be like, oh, that makes sense. That they get hot.
TVs.
Matthew Perry in a hot tub, he died. This guy was like out on a field in the hot sun, he died. But then, he totally goes
Jumps
off
the shark.
He's just like, and the Wi-Fi. And it's like, oh, okay.
And your vampire TVs.
Yeah. Well, first, it's like the heat and this, and it's like, oh, yeah, that I'm tracking with you there. And the Wi-Fi and the mics, the Wi-Fi mics, the wireless mics. I'm like, oh,
yes,
the Wi-Fi mics. Yeah, I mean, I can see how maybe like radio frequency, like they've told us cell phones are going to give us cancer. I mean, that's not something that we're not to like,
because one of the conspiracy theories
with.
I had heard was that that they give you the stuff, and then with 5G they can target you
things,
and take right.
Well, so it's just like, okay, maybe he's mixing up Wi-Fi and 5G, or maybe he's using it interchangeably, or he doesn't, again, playing safe, because if he throws out 5G, maybe that's another trigger
and that's possible
to get him kicked off. But then he's like, and your vampire TVs, throw away your vampire TVs. And testosterone makes it hard to detox from the stuff. So if you're a guy, you're fucked, especially if you sit in hot tubs, you have Wi-Fi, and you have a vampire TV, you're screwed.
I have those. Fortunately, I never got the stuff.
You didn't get the stuff?
No.
You do have the hot tub now.
Yes.
So
be
careful.
Yes.
So those are the 4 major risk factors. Duh. You didn't know that?
Apparently.
So that, I mean, again, conspiracy theory.
Yes.
I hadn't even considered. The stuff.
Yeah.
Sure, I see how people always jump to that every time a celebrity dies now.
Yes.
Well, before COVID, every time a celebrity died, they were working on a documentary to expose pedophilia and sex trafficking in Hollywood.
That was Chester Bennington.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now every time a celebrity drops dead, are they vaccinated?
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now, this guy was I wouldn't say he was a promoter of them, but he did have a shirt. There's a picture. I don't know if maybe it's Photoshop, but he had a shirt that said, could I be any more vaccinated?
Yeah.
Based off his catchphrase on Friends. So I don't know. I don't know about that one.
I don't, like you said, that's just kind of been the catch-all lately. With if someone dies, it's like, oh well,
it's not even original anymore.
Right? Yeah,
until you throw in the vampire TV.
Right.
Then it's original. Then it's totally original. The next catch-all is Epstein's List.
Yes,
the Epstein's List one, because I guess that goes back to the whole you're either on Epstein's List or you were working on a documentary to expose Epstein's
Which
List.
one was it for him?
He apparently, son of a bitch. He apparently was on the list.
Oh.
According to people. But
sure.
apparently that's been debunked.
Oh, okay.
Obviously. because this is a fact check from USA Today. It says the claim Matthew Perry was killed because he was on the list for Epstein's Island.
I thought you would kill people so that they couldn't release you being on the list, not be killed because you're on the list.
Maybe he was going to turn in his
Oh,
pal
state's
Justin.
evidence.
Maybe he's going to turn in Justin.
Oh, because
too.
you know Justin's on
He's
there.
like, we rode on the plane
Yes.
together. It says an October 29th Instagram video shows a spreadsheet of celebrities' names, including the late actor Matthew Perry. The column includes his name. The column that includes his name is marked with a red highlight and a label that says arrested and executed. Seems very
I want to see
specific.
this list.
I do too. Says, so hold up. He was killed. Text on the screen reads. Obviously, because it said he was arrested and executed. The Instagram's caption connects the death to an infamous sex trafficking operation. In case you have questions, here's proof. Matthew Perry was on a list to Epstein Island. So first of all, of all the celebrities, all the elite celebrities
Yes.
that I'd find would probably be on that list,
Yes.
I don't see Matthew Perry as being in the elite category.
Yeah, right.
Yes, he was famous for
Yes.
Friends.
But
He's
that's
been
about
on
it.
some stuff since then,
Yeah.
but he was famous for Friends.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah. I would put him like maybe third tier.
Right. I wouldn't say D list maybe,
No,
but maybe C list.
definitely C list.
Their rating though, USA Today's rating is false.
Oh.
Police have said there's no evidence of foul play in Perry's death. So
Okay.
obviously,
Well, yeah, because
obviously it's false.
obviously professionals,
Now-
don't know how to get it done without being seen.
Didn't police have the same report in Epstein's death though too?
Yes, that's true.
Nor is there evidence he visited Epstein's Island, the retreat used in connection with a long-running sex trafficking operation.
Says the guy who probably was also on the list.
Probably.
saw him on the island.
Perry's name does not appear on the flight log of Epstein's private plane. The list in social media video is not Epstein's flight log, so who knows what this list is, but it's a list, and it's supposedly Epstein's list, but it's not the flight log. Maybe it's the black book, because wasn't there a black book
There was
too?
a black book, yes.
On October 28th, Perry was found dead in a jacuzzi in L.A. The Friends actor, well remembered for his comedic role as Chandler Bing, was 54. His cause of death is yet to be determined, but police say there was no evidence of foul play. Epstein, on the other hand, was arrested July 2019 on federal charges of trafficking minor girls. The registered sex offender pled not guilty. 1 month later, he was found dead by suicide in his jail cell. In December 2021, the flight logs of his private jet became public during a trial of former socialite Ghislaine Maxwell, his longtime companion, who was found guilty of conspiring with him to sexually abuse children. Some celebrities, including former presidents Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, were found on the flight logs. USA Today has debunked an array of claims that falsely tie other celebrities to the log. Well, obviously. Says the list in the post originates from a TikTok video claimed that Perry was among others who were arrested and executed. Others on that list include Perry's Friends co-stars Matt LeBlanc and Lisa Kudrow. Like why the Friends? Why were they just like,
yeah,
you know what? We're all friends. Let's go. You know who else is our friend? Jeffrey Epstein. As well as Vice President Kamala Harris and the Kardashian sisters, and even Queen Letizia of Spain. What are you doing? Jesus. The list is not the official flight log and has no basis in reality. Now, when you say something like that, it's like, this list has no basis in reality. It's like, all right, what's that list for real?
Yeah,
because that's a very definitive answer. Like you just said, we don't know what this fucking list is.
Right.
And then turn around and we're like, but it has no basis in reality. It's like,
then what the fuck is it?
Yeah, so what is it? And why are you so dead set on saying this is fake?
Yeah.
Like, why are you so... I don't know.
Because the owner of USA Today is probably also on the list.
Right. Stop playing with your fucking microphone. The link shown above the video is from a website for the baseless QAnon conspiracy theory, which claims there is a satanic cabal of global elites taking part in an international child sex trafficking ring.
That was a very good Alex Jones.
I don't know who that was supposed to be, but it just very, like, they're trying way too hard to debunk this
Oh, yeah.
Matthew Perry on
Right.
a list thing. It's
Yeah.
like no basis in reality and QAnon and satanic cabals of elitists and blah, blah, blah. And it's just not reality. It's
Yeah.
like you could have just said, this isn't the real list.
Right. Yeah. This
And-
proves to be not true.
Yeah, we're not sure where this list came from, but it's
Yeah.
not the list.
Right.
And then they're like, and these people need to burn in hell for their lies
Yeah.
and thrown in prison. And it's just like, it's kind of like the people that argue against flat earth.
Right.
Like, I'm not a flat earther.
Yes.
I'm not saying I entertain the flat earth theory. I will read it. I will study everything that people have to say because it's interesting to
Yeah.
me. It's an alternate theory that I can play around in my head and not feel like I'm just completely insane. It's not I know people that are diehard flat earthers. Don't fucking care.
Right.
I don't care. What gets me is the people that aren't flat earthers that get so aggressively angry at somebody
Right.
that is a flat earth, or even just like jokes about, it's like, how dare you're such a dumbass and a fucking idiot and you should die and your family should all go to jail. It's like,
You could have just said no.
where did this come from?
Yeah.
Like this level of aggression. It's like flat earthers come out and they have like their math.
Yeah.
It's probably flawed math, most likely flawed
Right.
math. They have their like calculations that they probably read from somebody else that had flawed math.
Mm.
And they're like, well, based on this angle of the curve and this, there's no way the world could be a globe and it's got to be flat. And it's like, okay, you're probably wrong, but
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
But then you get the argument from the other side. It's like, the earth is round, you dumbass. And it's like, Jesus. The fact that you're so aggressively
Yeah.
against it makes me want to be a flat earther that much
Right.
more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like, you've got to be covering something up with that level of anger that you're
Yeah.
pushing
But like you
towards
said,
this.
whenever you see somebody who's got that much animosity, you just want to push back just to.
Well, yeah. I
just
want to
for
be a
the
flat
hell of
earther
it,
just
right?
to piss you off.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. And that's what I feel about this. It's like, this debunked theory that Matthew Perry was on the Epstein list because this isn't the real list and it's baseless and it has no place in reality. And QAnon conspiracy theorists think there's a satanic cabal that wants to rule the world with pedophiles. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, you could have just said no, it's wrong, and I would have been fine. But now I'm just like, it's
Yeah.
probably
Now I'm starting to believe it.
he's probably on the list, and you're just aggressively trying to
Yeah.
counter that. So I don't know what you think about this list, about
Yeah.
about Matthew Perry being on this list.
Yeah.
Like, do you think either of these conspiracy theories hold any weight?
No, I don't.
I mean,
Maybe the stuff one, not because of the secret powerful Wi-Fi signal, but just because of, the guy is 50 something who has a long history of drugs.
right,
He just played 2 hours of pickleball and then goes sits in a jacuzzi.
right.
He probably just had a heart attack.
I mean, I'd like to think he just had a heart attack. The
Yeah.
reality is he had a very public battle with mental
Yeah.
illness.
Yes.
There's a great chance
He offed himself.
he offed himself or overdosed. There's a good chance of it.
Yeah.
I would like to think that's not the reality of it. And
Well, the romantic in me likes to think he just had a heart attack
right,
or a stroke.
exactly. But there's a better chance that he offed himself over the Wi-Fi killed him, or he was part of Epstein's
Right.
list and they took him
Satanic
out.
cabal.
Yes.
Although I do like the Trudeau theory.
You like Mike Trudeau
I do
theory.
like that.
Yes.
Yes, I think that's a good one.
they don't want him to.
Yes.
He was going to come out with the information that he was Fidel Castro's illegitimate bastard
Yes.
son.
I feel like the guys who did the movie about killing off the leader of Korea should do a movie about Matthew Perry getting killed because of.
What was the name of that
Trudeau.
movie again?
I don't remember.
I don't either. That was like the explosion that blew up Kim
Yeah.
Jong
Un,
Il's
yeah,
head. Or was
and
it
it
Il
was-
or Un? I don't remember. It was one of the Kims.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be quite the brain
Controversy.
teaser. Speaking of mental illness, let's move on.
Yes.
The shooting in Maine.
Yes. I'll be honest, when I heard about it, I kind of tuned this one out.
Because it's another shooting.
Yeah. And all you hear is the same arguments.
Same arguments, but it's really weird when you dig into it because they're blatantly leaving out information or blatantly, I mean, not using their fullest we'll get into that. Like certain law enforcement that you think they'd want all the law enforcement involved.
Right.
But certain law enforcement left other law enforcement out. Was like, we're not going to tell you everything that we're doing over here.
Yeah.
That could be a turf war thing. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. First, let's talk about the Maine shooting in general, because, I mean, shit, we're talking about mental illness. Why not talk about
we got to hit up the shooting.
Mass shooting. So this is from whyy.org, and they have a PBS and an NPR logo, so it's got to be somehow related to public news. At least 16 dead. So this was the day that it happened. I think the number is up to 18.
I thought it was like 22. 22.
I don't know. Maybe people died in the hospital. I'm not sure.
I think they did. Yeah.
At the time, at least 16 were dead in Maine, a Maine mass killing, and police hunt for the shooter as residents take shelter. Let's see. It says it starts out great. I mean, this guy just killed at least 16 people. And this is their opening sentence. Some recent attempts by gun control advocates to tighten the state's gun laws have failed.
Wow, what a dick.
That's their opening line.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, fuck the people that died. Let's get gun control.
Gun control has failed.
You people, you rued this day.
Yes. A man shot and killed at least 16 people at a restaurant and a bowling alley in Lewiston, Maine on Wednesday, and then fled into the night, like Batman, sparking a massive search by hundreds of officers while frightened residents stayed locked in their homes. A police bulletin identified Robert Card, who is 40, as a person of interest in the attack that sent panicked bowlers scrambling behind pins when shots rang out around 7 p.m.
Obviously, they don't know bowling alleys.
Right.
Nobody hides behind pins.
Apparently. Unless you're a bad bowler, I guess. I don't know.
Yes.
Card was described as a firearms instructor, believed to be in the Army Reserves, and assigned to a training facility in Saco, Maine. Now, it has come out since then, since he died, that he wasn't a firearms instructor. So I'm not sure.
Was he a vet? Was he?
He was in the
PTSD?
reserves.
No, I know that, but
he never deployed or anything.
Oh, he never deployed.
No, nothing like
okay,
that.
gotcha.
But they initially described him as a firearms instructor.
Sure.
Now it's come out that he was like a petro worker, like like a gas boy or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but how do you get that wrong?
Yeah, well, obviously you have an agenda if you are claiming he was a weapons instructor.
Yeah, or there's an agenda to cover up, or vice both,
versa,
or something.
Right.
I don't know. It's weird that they're like, he's a firearms instructor. Actually, he was a gas station attendant in the military. He was an Army gas station attendant. He filled up the Humvees or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know what got crossed there, but that's a little fishy to me. He was assigned to a training facility in Saco, Maine. The document circulated to law enforcement officials said Card had been committed to a mental health facility for 2 weeks in the summer of 23. It did not provide details about his treatment or condition, but said Card had reported been hearing voices and threats to shoot up the military base. A telephone number listed for Card in public records was not in service. Even if it was in service, he's not there. So
why would they not give him a medical discharge if he's sitting there? He's like, well, I'm hearing voices and they want me to shoot up the place.
No, I don't know. They want to probably see what was going to happen. They want to see how far this thing goes. You know, like the FBI does.
Yeah, right. Be like, oh, he was on a watch
this
list.
This guy's a little weird. Wonder how far he can take this.
Let's just watch him. Don't worry. We won't
see
let
how this
anything
plays
happen.
out. Yeah.
We'll watch him.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on him. Lewiston police said in an earlier Facebook post that they were dealing with an active shooter incident in Shemengi's bar and at Spare Time Recreation, a bowling alley about 4 miles away. One bowler who identified himself only as Brandon said he heard about 10 shots, thinking the first was a balloon popping. Now, he hasn't heard too many guns or he hasn't heard too many balloons popping,
Right.
but it wasn't a balloon popping.
No.
I had my back turned to the door, and as soon as I turned around and saw it was not a balloon, that he was holding a weapon, I just booked it. Brandon said he scrambled down the length of the lane, sliding into the pin area and climbed up to hide in the machinery. Now, that is kind of smart.
That is really smart.
I want-
Obviously, he pre-gamed.
Yes. Like run and like dive
Yeah,
head
he's
first.
like, okay,
to the
if a
pin.
shooter comes in here, I'm going down that lane.
Yes. It says he was among a busload of survivors who were driven to a middle school in the neighboring city of Auburn to be reunited with family and friends. I was putting on my bowling shoes when it started. I've been barefoot now for about 5 hours. That's very...
Why wouldn't he just keep the bowling shoes on?
Well, he's putting them on, and then he had to
I-
book it down. That's why
Obviously,
he
he
was able...
didn't watch Die Hard.
Well,
He
that's
always
why-
take shoes.
Yeah, that's why he was able to run down. With can you imagine
Oh.
with the bowling shoes on, trying to
That's
run
true,
down the
yeah.
lane? He would have.
It would have been hard either way.
Yeah. Melinda, what?
Unless they were really dry lanes.
Yes. Melinda Small, the owner of Legend Sports Bar and Grill, said her staff immediately locked the doors and moved all 25 customers and employees away. After a customer reported hearing about the shooting at the bowling alley less than a quarter mile away. I don't care about those people because they weren't actually in it. After the shooting, police, many armed with rifles, took up positions while the city descended into eerie quiet, punctuated by occasional sirens, as people hunkered down at home. Schools were closed Thursday in Lewiston, Lisbon, and Auburn, as well as municipal offices in Lewiston. The Androscoggin County Sheriff's Office released 2 photos of the suspect on Facebook that showed the shooter walking into an establishment with a weapon raised to his shoulder. 2 law enforcement officials told the AP that at least 16 people were killed and the toll was expected to rise. However, Michael Shashuk, commissioner of the Maine Department of Public Safety, declined to provide a specific estimate at a news conference, calling it a fluid situation.
How does a guy who just killed 16 people escape with a weapon
Just
out of a busy area?
I have no idea. I don't know. I wasn't there.
No, I know that.
I don't know how busy of I mean, it's Maine. How busy is their busiest area?
Well, but I'm
like
thinking
6 people.
there was a spare time bowling alley and an American Legends sports bar.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was probably like an outdoor mall area, right? I've seen in several of them around the country.
Okay.
And so, it was probably pretty well populated.
All right. I guess we'll go with I just don't picture any part of Maine being overly populated.
I mean, beavers, right?
Oh, yeah. Look at this traffic jam. There's 3 whole cars in the middle of the freaking highway today. I don't know much. I've been to Maine when I was 12.
I was gonna
was
say,
the
I've
last
never
time.
been to Maine.
So there's the shooting. People died.
Yes.
The guy took off.
Yes.
And then they found him 2 days later. And what was it? An overflow lot of something. I can't remember what. But he was in like a trailer or something and he was dead. He killed himself, supposedly. Now, this is weird. So he was a little crazy, obviously. He
Obviously.
went on a shooting spree.
Yes.
Apparently, he was hearing voices.
Yes.
The guy was convinced that local businesses were spreading rumors that he was a pedophile.
Local businesses are spreading rumors that the
The
shooter.
shooter was a pedophile. And that
Okay.
was kind of his reasoning for...
So he wanted to prove
targeting
them wrong
those
by shooting them.
Well, he targeted those local businesses for spreading. Like, it was all in his head.
Right. Obviously. Yes.
But that's very oddly specific.
That is
I
very.
think.
Yes.
It says, this is from Fox News. It says Maine law enforcement officials investigating the shooting in Lewiston have shared evidence that suggests the U.S. Army reservist who killed 18 people at a bowling alley and a bar may have intentionally targeted individuals at those locations. On Tuesday, Maine State Police and the Maine Department of Public Safety released a trove of documents on Card, including search warrants, affidavits, criminal records, and more that shed light on possible motives for after Card carried out a deadly rampage.
How the fuck was he in the reserves?
I don't know. According to multiple witnesses, including Card's brother and son, Card knew people at both locations and may have believed they were calling him a pedophile. Card experienced a similar incident over the summer when he accused fellow members of his reserve unit of calling him a pedophile. The incident prompted Army officials to have him undergo a mental health evaluation. One affidavit reveals Card's brother told police that the eventual mass shooting suspect thought there was a conspiracy involving people accusing him of being a pedophile. A part of me wants to believe that maybe he was right and maybe somebody was blackmailing him. Maybe he was more than just a training guy. Maybe he was in on maybe he was intel guy, intelligence guy. And he stumbled across something he wasn't supposed to stumble across. And now they're spreading, blackmailing him, telling people that he's a pedophile. And also at the same time making him believe that he's crazy and that people aren't calling him a pedophile.
Right.
And it sounds like a freaking horror movie.
Yeah, right. Seriously.
What's that movie where they make the lady believe that she didn't actually have a daughter that got lost on the plane? You remember that movie?
Oh, yeah. I didn't watch it, but I know
it's a great fucking movie. You should watch it. It's got
Angelina Jolie is a changeling.
No, it's not Angelina. It's the lady from
Juliana Moore.
Is it
the redhead?
Maybe it's her. I don't know. I thought it was the lady from Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, Jodie Foster.
I thought it was her.
Oh, maybe it
could
is
be
her.
wrong. But anyway, that's a great fucking movie.
Okay.
Because she loses her daughter on the plane. Then they convince her that she never had a daughter and she was just crazy. And I feel like
they did
that's highly possible.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not saying it did happen to this guy. But there's a good chance, knowing our government, especially if he was on some kind of FBI list.
They put him on some kind of meds, and we've seen that before.
LSD'd him up and made him think, told him that he was a pedophile, made all these people accuse him of something he didn't do, or blackmailing him, but then also at the same time told those same people to tell them that they never said that and make him think he was going crazy.
I could totally see
and then
that.
he'd lost his fucking mind and shot a bunch of people.
Right. And they're
as
shit,
somebody
would
would.
See that going that way.
Right. They're I wonder what would happen if we accused this guy of being a pedophile, but then convinced him that we didn't actually say that it was all in his head.
We were trying to get him shoot the military base. We didn't expect him to go local.
Maybe we shouldn't have targeted a weapons instructor that has lots of access to guns.
Right,
And then they're maybe we shouldn't include that in the report.
Let's say he was a gas jockey.
Yes. State police interviewed a witness just hours after the shooting began who said Card believed local businesses, including the Shemengi's Bar and Grill and the Just-in-Time recreational bowling alley, were broadcasting online that Robert was a pedophile. Card, according to his brother, also believed that some businesses were spreading rumors of him being a pedophile online. Another witness interviewed by police said Card specifically mentioned Joey Walker, the manager of the bar and grill, as one of the people who he thought who had disparaged him, according to an affidavit filed in a request to access his cell phone records. Walker was among those killed. The same witness whose name was redacted told police it was redacted because he probably, if you knew who he was, you could probably find online that he actually was calling him a pedophile.
Yeah, right.
Same witness whose name was redacted told police he previously traveled with Card to both the bowling alley and the bar, and that Card knew people in both locations. They also shed light on how the pedophile allegations may have started. Card's girlfriend had 2 young daughters that he would take out to eat at Shemengi's. And that is where the pedophilia thing in Robert's head came from, as Robert was there with his girlfriend's daughters on occasion and felt that people were looking at him, the witness said.
Seems weird.
That is. Depends on how crazy you are, though.
I guess.
So he takes out these girls. He's kind of crazy, and he's like, why do these people what do they think I'm like a pedophile or something? Or I don't know. Maybe he had some inclinations in his head and then had guilty conscience, and then his craziness turned that into, other people must think I'm a pedophile.
Right.
I don't know. He also believes some family members were involved in the conspiracy, according to his brother. Card's son told police that paranoia about strangers calling him a pedophile had become a recurring theme for his father since last winter. The 40-year-old's declining mental health was evident after a relationship with a woman at the bowling alley ended in a breakup in February. His brother said Card met his ex-girlfriend during a cornhole competition at the bar and grill. At that bar and grill. It must be the only bar and grill in town.
Oh, it's Shemengi.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. But that's where he met his girlfriend.
Yeah, right.
It's where he took the girlfriend's kids, and that's where he went and shot. Yeah, it must be small town. After his ex-girlfriend ended the relationship, the family member said that his brother began wearing hearing aids and had been saying crazy things.
Hearing aids?
Was he wearing hearing aids, or were the hearing aids the things that were put like saying things in his head?
Right. Yeah.
Did somebody tap into his hearing aids and
Yeah.
start broadcasting
No
shit?
shit.
Like there's a lot of freaking
That is really
bizarre, weird stuff. I mean, if he was crazy, he would do bizarre and weird things, though. So I'm not saying that there's a conspiracy here,
But
there's a lot of room for conspiracy here.
if you were in the reserves, wouldn't you get disability if you had to have hearing aids? Why would they keep you in the military?
I don't. Maybe he was on his way out. Maybe they're doing the paperwork after his stint in because he got committed while he was in the reserves.
That's weird.
Maybe he's on his way. Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness here. Since the breakup, Card had significant weight loss. This is according to his brother. Had been hospitalized for mental health issues and had stopped taking prescribed medication. Now, keep that in mind. He had
Yes.
been hospitalized,
Yes.
like committed,
Yes.
or committed himself or something,
Right.
and somewhere in there stopped taking his prescribed medication. This is where it gets weird.
It's not already.
It's not already weird. Go away. So this is from joehoff.com. I don't know who that is, but he has his own website, so he must be legit. Authorities in Maine are withholding the drugs authorized to mass murderer Robert Card and who made the authorization. So they're not releasing information about what drugs he was on, not releasing information about who authorized those drugs.
Weird.
Now, the response is really weird. The response when questioned about what drugs and who he was seeing is really weird.
If he's a personal trainer from Canada, I'm going to blow my shit.
Right. No shit. Says authorities in Maine are withholding pertinent information from the public on mass murderer Robert Card, who killed 18 people in the state last week. Let me scroll down. It says Sheila Matthews from Able Child obtained some of the documents used in the media in their reporting and identified some material pieces of information that are missing or incorrect. The first observation regarding mass murderer Robert Card is from the arrest warrant that was issued. The 61-page report was sloppy. Even the date of the first shooting was incorrect. The date on the initial search warrant was March.
What?
Yes. 3/25/23. Could be a typo. Could be a dumbass that just had like a template that they just forgot.
That's my guess.
Or maybe they expected this to happen back in March and it didn't happen. That's when he checked into the mental facility and they're like, ah, shit.
Fuck.
Now, well, we could just reuse the search warrant and they forgot to change one of the dates.
Yeah.
That's
It's
definitely possible.
It's possible.
In the arrest warrant on page 44, there is a mention that Card was hearing things and was possibly schizophrenic. In a search warrant dated October 26, the list of items searched for does not include a list of mental health records from mental health professionals who dealt with Card. So here's a bunch of the stuff here, and it's not there. Says on September 15, 23, another incident report was issued. In this, Card is described as having a psychotic episodes and hearing voices. This report was initiated by the Maine National Guard. Card was also making threats to shoot up the Saco National Guard facility. The fact that this report indicates Card was having psychotic episodes indicates that he was likely seeing a psychiatrist who may have provided that observation. However, in a request to Maine's State Attorney General's office from Able Child regarding the exclusion of the treating psychiatrist, the mention of Card being observed or treated by a psychiatrist is challenged. So this was the response from the state's Attorney General's office when they reached out and are like, well, who was the psychiatrist they were seeing? The response is, I don't know what you are referencing about a psychiatrist. It doesn't appear any of the documents we've released reference a psychiatrist. Doesn't say he wasn't seeing a psychiatrist. It's very politician's way of saying he wasn't without saying he wasn't. Trying to make it seem like, oh, we never said he was seeing. It's just like we did say that he was seeing a psychiatrist. That's not them saying he wasn't seeing a psychiatrist.
They're just saying that it's not in the documents.
why are they covering that shit up?
Right.
Number one, he checked himself into, or was checked into, a mental facility, which means at one point he was seeing a psychiatrist.
Right.
Number two, his brother says he stopped taking his prescribed medication, which he wouldn't have if he wasn't seeing a psychiatrist at some point.
Yeah.
I feel like, besides the fact that it seems like you could really make a case for a very odd conspiracy theory, in the very least, they're trying not to attach this to the way we attach most of the mass shootings to, like, the use of SSRIs, the use of mental health, or like the issues of mental health versus it's not a gun problem, it's a mental health SSRI medicated, like prescribed meds. Scenario here. Like we did a whole episode about mass shooters and talked about all the medications all of them were on. Connected the dots there. They don't want those dots connected because they want you to be like, guns are the problem. It's just like, well, what do all these also have in common besides guns? Oh, they're all on these crazy prescription medications.
Well, and the first line of that news article that you started with points that out.
Right.
Like, well, the gun control failed.
Or
good job, assholes.
Or the the medical system, psychiatric system failed just as much too.
Right.
If not more.
As it does.
This none answer indicates that the authorities in the state of Maine are hiding information from the public. We need to know why. Psychiatric drugs are a huge industry to Big Pharma. Sheila Matthews has learned this over decades of research of drugs pushed onto children in schools and in her studies of mass murderers who have been taking drugs for periods before their attack on society. I think, in the very least, they're trying to not connect that dot back to not get people talking about the whole mental health aspect of this. They want you to only talk about the gun issue of this.
Right.
So, there's more, though.
Of course.
So, in that, there was the botched arrest warrant, which was weird. That
from
like
March.
That wouldn't even hold up in fucking court.
No,
if the guy was still alive. Like, if he had a good lawyer, he could get a lot of shit thrown out based on
bad paperwork.
It's like if, let's say, he survived, they used a search warrant, went and found the gun that he shot with and proved that it was the gun, and then his conniving lawyer gets a good look at the arrest warrant and is like, wait a second, they weren't even able to use this search warrant. This is not a valid search warrant. Everything they found in that search warrant now is inadmissible. Now that guy goes free.
You gotta let him loose.
Fucking like how do you miss that?
Oh yeah, that's massive.
Number two, there's the weirdness of them kind of covering up his mental health issues when he clearly had mental health issues. It's like the guy was hearing voices, whether it was through his hearing aids or in his head. I'm not sure, but like why all this like effort to cover up that he may have been seeing a psychiatrist or on some sort of medication. The next part is during this 2-day manhunt, the Maine State Patrol was kind of in charge of the manhunt. And they they went radio silent with like the local police. They didn't didn't release information to them, and even to, I think, federal police. I don't know if this is like a turf war thing. It's like, oh, this is state jurisdiction. Like you can go back and do your little
I
don't know,
local yokels muddling up our investigation,
or they're covering something up.
Right.
This is from New York Post, and it says sheriff's deputy blasts the Maine State Police as utter clowns for radio silence in search for mass shooter Robert Card. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I just find it odd. Like, if you're searching for a guy for 2 fucking days who has a weapon,
area on lockdown, schools on lockdown, and you don't.
You think you get over your pissing fight and
find the dude.
Like, who? It doesn't matter who finds them. Says a veteran Maine cop who was one of the first to respond to the state's deadliest mass shooting, blasted state police as utter clowns for keeping local officials in the dark during a frantic hunt for the gunman who had just killed 18 people. In a blistering, since-deleted Facebook post, Sergeant John Gwai of Androscoggin County Sheriff's Office said state police shut out local cops even as huge areas were in lockdown before the gunman was found dead. Radio silence is the best phrase to describe the amount of information the Maine State Police shared with hundreds of law enforcement officers who responded to assist to the manhunt. The upper echelons of Maine State Police, Major Crimes Unit, and command staff are utter clowns, and I wouldn't hire them to manage the morning rush at Dunkin' Donuts, much less an investigation this size.
Wow.
Says even federal agencies were left idle during the 48-hour manhunt, with the only info from state cops coming unofficially through leaks, claimed Gwai, an officer of 24 years. I say this not as sour grapes, but because it was expressed to me from every single law enforcement officer I spoke to. To not include our local agencies in the information circle is insulting and one we will never forget. Says, then it goes into talking about the shooting.
Yeah.
It says, the day after the shooting, 350 law enforcement officers from the state, county, and local levels from across Maine, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire, and Vermont were assisting the search. Federal agents, including the FBI, ATF, and the U.S. Marshal Service, and the Department of Homeland Security also took part in the hunt. This is serious.
Yeah.
Nothing is more defeating to a cop than seeing carnage from the dead and injured, knowing that you can't change that, but then being kept out of the loop as to whereabouts of the person responsible. Veteran officer also noted that his colleagues have developed networks and relationships that could have allowed information to spread within seconds. No one knows this county better than local officers who work in it. We have utilized the network strategy many times before in separate incidents. But when Maine State Police showed up Wednesday night, all that stopped. It's unclear when Gwai made the post, though it did not violate office policies. County Sheriff Eric Sampson said, adding that he understood Gwai's frustrations. You look at that tragedy and you look at what we have all been going through, everybody involved, the state guy said, but he was expressing his frustration, and I get that. The Maine State Police have not provided details on how the manhunt was led, who is in charge, and how the agency was led. It's unfortunate the state's statement was made, but it was grueling and frustrating 48 hours for everyone. It could have been less grueling.
Right.
If maybe cued everybody in, maybe you let people know what was going on instead of just had your pissing contest or cover up or whatever.
Incompetence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it is, fishy and does kind of lend itself be like, they don't say anything about any information they have. They keep the local people out of it. So it's like they can find them on their own and possibly take him out so he can't say anything else.
Silence him or cover up anything that might implicate anything.
Yeah.
Maybe they were in on the hearing aid projection that he was hearing.
Yeah, because that's really bizarre.
Maybe they were in on the rumors where they doped him up with LSD and then made him believe people thought he was a pedophile, then told him that they didn't think it was a pedophile. Yeah. Maybe the state was in on that. I don't know. Maybe the FBI told the state to leave the locals out of it.
And keep him in the military. Again, that blows my mind.
Right. So, do you think this was just a nut job guy that heard voices and shot up a place? I mean, it's definitely likely.
It's possible.
It's definitely possible,
but
especially
again,
if he was on certain medications and off them and on them and off them.
But again, it seems like there's a lot of different circumstances that this guy had going on with him that definitely could have lent itself to manipulation.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more room to say there's a conspiracy on this one than the whole Matthew Perry.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Now, how much of that was mental illness that could have been persuaded by outside influences, or how much of it, I don't know. The whole thing could be a cover up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's definitely
it's a weird one.
It is very weird. Yeah. It's probably the weirdest one I've seen.
I think the part that gets your conspiracy juices flowing is when they throw the pedophilia thing in. It's like, well, he thought people were calling him a pedophile. It's like, of all the things you could have said there, well, he thought that you were a Kiss fan or something, you know, and nobody likes Kiss.
Screw you, man.
Maybe, yeah, he was I don't know, of all the rumors, it's like when it's like, well, he thought he heard people voices telling him that people thought he was a pedophile and he wasn't a pedophile. It's just like, that's weird.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's just because of all the pedophile ring stuff and blackmail stuff that's involved in a lot of the conspiracy world. Maybe that's why it's just like, oh, that's got to be a conspiracy.
His hearing aid, it was picking up chatter from across the border of Canada about what they were going to do to Matthew Perry.
That could be, and how he was about to expose Justin Trudeau
as a pedophile.
Boom,
we just connected.
I don't know. Like, what if his hearing aid was just picking up chatter?
Right? Yeah.
Did anybody think to take his hearing aids off him to see if that fixed the voices in his head?
Right.
I mean, you remember those old school like kids walkie-talkies that would always pick up some kind of weird chatter. And you try to talk back and nothing would happen. And you thought you like stumbled on like
secret
the holy
agents
grail
or something
of like information. It's like you're gonna find out. Maybe he was just picking up some weird. Maybe he was picking up a podcast, like an Alex Jones podcast, in his hearing aids.
Yeah.
And people are like, so when do you hear the? Well, it's when I put on my hearing aids. And they're like, well, obviously you want to hear them without your hearing aids because you're deaf. So, it has nothing to do with the hearing aids. It's just you can hear better. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
It's really bizarre.
There's so many things that this could be, and most likely not just some crazy guy went on a killing spree.
Yeah, right.
That may or may not have been a gun trainer, but isn't now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he was a pedophile. And he's just like, they're going to expose me, so we just take them all out.
Right. I mean, it's possible. I mean, he was taking his girlfriend's daughters out to this restaurant, and then she broke up with him.
Yeah. I mean there's so many things this could be, but it's most likely not the official story because that's just how life works.
Yeah.
Except for Matthew Perry is probably the official. Well, unless it was just the fact. The only thing that raises questions with Matthew Perry is the fact that he was best friends with Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, that's huge.
Then that just like if everything else that we read about it was the only information, it's just like, but there's a conspiracy. It's like, but is there? He was a drug addict with severe depression.
Yeah,
but he was Justin Trudeau's best friend in school. It's like, oh shit, there's a conspiracy there. Right. There's got to be a conspiracy there. The freaking the WEF took him out.
Yeah, right.
He's their Trudeau's their boy.
Yeah, Trudeau's like junior WEF.
Yeah. Speaking of mental illness and guns, did you hear the latest about Joe Biden? And like, I don't know how officially true this is, but the latest about Joe Biden providing weapons to Israel, which he's pretty unwavering on supporting Israel.
Yeah, right.
Apparently, according to Breitbart, the Biden administration threatened to stop supplying weapons to Israel because they were arming their civilians.
Huh.
It's interesting to me. It's like, well, we're going to give you guns, but don't give them to the general public.
Right.
Because you can't do that.
Yeah, we don't like them here. We don't want you to do it there.
So this is from Breitbart. It says the Biden administration became upset and threatened to quit supplying rifles to Israel after photos emerged of the National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir passing them out to community security squads. Now, this is Breitbart.
Yes.
So I don't know who this Gvir guy is. I don't know who these community security squads are.
Yeah.
I do know that Israel has some extremist sects too.
Yes.
Not extremist sex.
Yes.
Sects.
Well, that too.
Yes. Now, because what was it, like 2 months ago, we were saying
he's the Minister of National Security.
Is he like, because remember they were saying that what's the guy's name? Netanyahu was like extreme far right now.
Right.
And they were like putting him in that category until this happens. Then it's just like, oh yeah, he's just fighting.
No, he's good. He's all good. Yeah.
So the Biden administration could have been like, we know those are Israel terrorists. Don't give them to them.
Yeah.
or without saying Israeli terrorists, because that's
you
you can't say that.
Anti-Semitic.
So Biden's like, don't give them to your terrorists, or we're going to stop supplying them.
Yeah.
And Breitbart, who is against the Biden administration's like, he doesn't want to arm citizens because Joe Biden's just that against arming citizens.
Yeah.
It says the Biden administration reportedly does not want guns passed out to civilians nor distributed during political events. The Biden administration also threatens to halt an order of some 20,000 rifles purchased for the national security minister from American suppliers.
He is far right.
Well, he's Netanyahu's guy, and he's far right.
right.
Telegraph reported that photos purportedly showed Ben-Gvir distributing arms at political events in Bnei Brak and Elad towns near Tel Aviv. A social media user posted the tweet below, which translates, National Security Minister of Israel Itamar Ben-Gvir distributing arms to civilians. Here, the order is to disarm civilians and arm the criminals.
So this guy, Ben-Gvir, apparently he was facing charges of hate speech because he had a portrait in his living room of an Israeli-American terrorist named Baruch Goldstein, who massacred 29 Palestinian Muslim worshippers and wounded 125 others in Hebron in the 1994 Cave of the Patriarchs massacre. He removed the portrait when he entered politics, but he also was convicted of supporting terrorist groups known as
The cocktail
yes,
terrorist group?
which espoused cockism.
It's my favorite terrorist group ever.
An extremist Zionist ideology.
Now, the ultra pro-Israeli people aren't going to utter the words of Israeli extremists or Israeli terrorist groups.
Yes.
It's nothing like that. They're not going to mention that this guy has ties to Israeli terrorist groups,
No.
and he's distributing weapons.
Yes.
To probably his
Buddies.
Buddies. Yeah,
Yes.
we'll go with that.
The equivalent of the Jewish clan.
And so the Biden administration might be smart in this, being like, maybe if we give you guns, don't give them to your terrorist friends.
Yeah.
Or we're not going to give you guns.
Yeah.
And then Breitbart being right wing,
Yes.
being war hawks and definitely pro Israel.
Yes.
It's like he just doesn't want civilians to have guns.
He doesn't want them to defend themselves.
It's like maybe he just don't want the terrorists to have guns.
Yeah, right.
Maybe the Biden administration did one thing right.
Yes.
Maybe if they just turned around and said, we're not going to give any of them guns, that'd be even better.
He probably gave him guns and then saw him giving them out to his Jewish clan buddies, and it was like, fuck.
God damn it. We did this again.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be guilty of arming the terrorists again.
Yeah,
But
we can only do this so many times.
yes. On October 10th, the Times of Israel noted that Ben-Gvir's ministry was purchasing 10,000 rifles to arm civilian security teams, specifically those in towns close to the borders around the country. Bulletproof vests and helmets were also distributed. On October 8th, the day after a Hamas terrorist attack against Israel was launched, Breitbart News pointed out that private gun ownership among Israelis is low. Unlike the United States, Israel does not have a Second Amendment or its equivalent. BBC reported that Israeli gun ownership is low at about 2% of the population. In contrast, the finding of a recent study by Rutgers University New Jersey Gun Violence Research Center estimated upwards of 6 in 10 Americans, 60% own guns. Good.
That seems low.
It does.
I feel like it needs to be much higher.
Yeah, but you got to realize there's a lot of liberals that are scared of guns.
I guess.
Following the terror attacks, Israel expedited the gun license process to Israelis so Israelis could get firearms and defend themselves and Israel. So, and that's all it says. It's Biden warned, don't give guns to your buddies.
Yeah.
We're not going to give you guns anymore.
Yeah.
And so he just doesn't like arming civilians.
Yeah.
Now, I could see it, even if, let's take the whole Israeli terrorist thing out of the picture.
Sure.
Derek says they should give us those guns.
I agree, Derek.
I'd even pass on the free gun if I get a tank.
I
100% endorse getting free tanks.
Yes.
Now, if, let's say these were just normal civilians, and Biden did say this, I can't see Biden, first of all, saying, or like actually seriously withholding anything from Israel.
No.
Because he has just balls to the wall, full support, declared full support to Israel.
Yes.
Now, I could see him to appease the people back home, because there's people like us that are like, really? You're going to give guns to Israeli civilians, but here at home, you're going to say, oh, why do civilians need guns? But
I thought you said all they needed was shotguns.
Yes. Really? You're going to give them AR-15s and try to ban them here? So I could see them being like, now, wink, wink, don't give these ARs to your civilians, wink, wink, because that's bad to have as civilians, wink, wink. And then back here, one side's like, well, that's good. He's preventing them from a mass shooting in Israel.
Yeah.
And then the right is like, he's preventing civilians from having doing what we do here, just causing a ruckus here.
Right.
But trying to appease his lefties.
Yeah.
While still, like, he's not going to withhold weapons from Israel, even if they are terrorists.
Right. Yeah.
Which isn't a thing. We all know there's no such thing as Israeli terrorists.
Right.
They're just defending their right to exist. So, problem solved. So that, I found that completely interesting about the Biden administration and about like how this whole thing is getting handled, because it's so divided.
Right.
Like, it's weird how divided the Israel support is right now.
Yeah.
Like, the Democrats are completely split. That's the one thing, the one good thing that could possibly come out of this whole thing with Israel. Because, again, Biden is unswervingly supportive of Israel. And the far left Democrats are very much not in support of Israel.
It's interesting to me because, like, I've seen a lot of things where people are, like, really pissed off that people are calling for a ceasefire.
Yeah. Oh,
and they're like,
I've heard it.
If you're calling for a ceasefire, you never would have told the United States to do a ceasefire after 9/11, and you're hiding your Jewish hate by doing it. And it's like, what are you talking about?
Oh, maybe we just don't want a bunch of fucking innocent people killed.
Yeah, exactly. You think that might be a thing?
So, like I was saying, the best part of all this is Democrats are complete. Like, the whole this is like tearing Democrats apart. This is like the hill to die on for like the far left and the moderate Democrats. This from Axios, it says deep split erupts between Democrats on the Israel-Hamas war. Why it matters. Things could not be possibly any worse than they are right now, one House Democrat lamented. Democrat aides and lawmakers told Axios that the upcoming votes on half a dozen votes are exacerbating a tense situation. Let's see. The big picture. President Biden's initial response to the Israel-Hamas war sparked some of the harshest criticism he's ever received from progressives and people of color in his party. And those lawmakers think the party's base is on their side. Members of the squad, the high-profile group, it's AOC and those people, accused the White House of empowering Israel to retaliate in a way that has put lives of tens of thousands of Palestinians in Gaza at risk. I want Biden to know, as a Palestinian American and also someone of Muslim faith, I am not going to forget this, said Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, the first Palestinian American woman in Congress, at a recent rally protesting the White House response. The White House didn't immediately respond for comment. 9 House Democrats voted against a resolution last week that condemned Hamas and supported Israel, and another 6 voted present. So at least 15 people did not vote to even condemn Hamas in all of this.
Yeah.
The vote sparked intra-party public feuds. Representative Andre Carson of Indiana called Representative Josh Gothmere a punk and cowardly after the New Jersey Democrat wrote on Twitter, or X, that the Democrats who voted against the resolution supporting Israel and condemning Hamas were despicable. Representative Summer Lee of Pennsylvania said, "It is not us without a soul," after Wasserman Schultz suggested people who haven't condemned Hamas's slaughter of Israel's civilians don't have a soul. Between the lines, one area of Democrat unity is on a resolution expected to get a vote this week to censure Tlaib for her history of comments on Israel. So they're going to censure her.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And her speech to a protest at Capitol Complex pressing for a ceasefire in Gaza. Marjorie Taylor Greene, authorship of the censure resolution, which refers to the protest as an insurrection has turned off Democrats on both sides of the conference. Some of the administration's harshest critics on the Israel-Hamas war could face pro-Israel primary challengers this cycle. Lee already has a I don't care. You get the point.
Yes.
You get the point. They're split. You got the moderates that are the old people that are still on Israel's jock, and you have the ultra progressives that will never. They can't support Israel completely. They can't, because they've been like against colonization. They've been against mistreatment. I mean, their entire platform would be out the window if they're like, no, Israel's on the right side of this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not saying that Hamas didn't do atrocities.
Right. And I think they called Hamas out also.
Ocasio-Cortez did, but you get those 15. Well, you get those 15. It said 15 people would not vote to condemn Hamas.
Okay.
And not condemn Palestine or Palestinians. They would not vote to condemn Hamas in this, which is interesting to me. That is interesting. Because, Ocasio-Cortez was like, I don't have the balls to not condemn, because she publicly condemned Hamas. But you got 15 representatives that won't vote to condemn Hamas.
Yeah.
It was like 6 of them, they said, voted present, which means they're not voting yes or no. And you had 9 of them that voted no against it. So
did you see the right-wing Republicans that want to defund the UN because of their calls for a ceasefire?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what it takes, I'm okay with that.
Right, yeah. Sorry, UN, you got to move out because, you're wrong.
Is this the end of the never Trump politics, where it's just like, well, we don't agree at all on politics, but we're calling ourselves Democrats, even though like Ocasio-Cortez has always butted against Biden and the moderates, but they've always come together because of the never Trump politics.
Yeah.
Is this the rift that ends the never Trump politics? Like, well, we don't like you, but you're not Trump, so we're going to vote for you.
It could, because according to what the studies or surveys I've seen, like Biden's numbers are in the toilet when it comes to like Muslims right now.
Oh yeah. I'm sure when he stood up and said, I've always been a pro-Zionist. I'm Irish Catholic, but I'm still pro-Israel and pro-Zionist.
Right.
You bet your ass he lost a large chunk of the Muslim vote on that, just by saying those words.
Oh yeah.
Regardless of what you think of the Israel-Palestinian conflict, who belongs there, who doesn't, who's in the wrong, who's in the right, he lost a good chunk of it, of the Muslim vote, a good chunk of the progressive vote.
Yeah.
And anybody that has accused anybody of colonization has to separate themselves from that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Like Black Lives Matter separating themselves from Joe Biden's
they
politics.
Actually jumped the Trump cat.
Apparently, yeah. There was a few others that I'm like, really? Like, I mean, it's not surprising, but I feel like this is the tear.
I think so
the
too.
unmendable tear, and it's going to completely be the end of like this never Trump idea, where it's just like, well, this is a piece of shit, but at least he's not Donald Trump.
Right.
Yes, I don't agree with 90% of his politics. He's not progressive enough. He's not this enough. He's too much this. He's too white. He's too old. He's too male. I don't know, but he's not Donald Trump. I mean, this has to be a divide. It has
I
to.
agree. It has to be.
Every one of those is fucking hypocrites.
Right.
Every single one of them is a big fucking hypocrite and should lose their spot.
What's Robert Kennedy saying about this thing?
I haven't read that. I do know that he's trying to beef up Secret Service because he has stalkers right now. Now, could this could be the end, I feel, of moderate politics as we know it.
Yeah.
Because what's the Republican Party? The only bit of Republican Party that's making any waves, it's the diehard Trump supporters.
Right.
There's the moderates, like the DeSantis's in the world. They're not making any waves.
Yeah.
Except for like busting people around and shit like that. But they're not making real waves. It's the MAGA, the Trump, the extremist side of it, the white nationalists or whatever they're calling them. And then On the other side, do you think the moderate Democrats make too many waves if this riff actually happens, or you think it's more the ultra progressives that are going to be making the waves?
Oh, it'll be ultra progressives.
So you're going to have like these moderate old people in the middle that are like, yeah, we're still the party of whatever. And they're obsolete at this point.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the ultra progressives and the ultra conservatives, which is what they say this whole country is anyway.
Right. Yeah.
And it'll be the end of moderate politics as we know it.
Let's see here.
What are you looking up?
I'm looking up Kennedy's. I'm just seeing like if people would jump over to him.
Do you think this is the end of Joe Biden?
Yeah, I think it is.
I think I asked this last week.
Yeah. No, I think this is.
His decision here on Israel is his downfall.
Yeah, but to be honest, there wasn't a way he was going to win this.
There wasn't, but now they'll use this as an excuse to be like, well, now we can't put him up because he said he's pro-Zionist or whatever. Do you really want this guy as your leader?
Yeah.
Who is the one person? This one. Stop and think. Who is the one person that could come back and reunify the Democratic Party and bring them to victory? The one person. There's only one. According to Ted Cruz, there's only one.
There's only one?
There's one person.
The Democratic Party?
That could come and reunify the Democratic Party and bring them to victory in this 2024 election cycle.
Ted Cruz is saying this?
Ted Cruz has a theory that only one person can reunite. Michelle Obama.
Yep.
Michael
Which I
Obama.
called. I told you.
You did call it.
Yes.
It's the last thing I have.
If she ends up becoming the next president, I'm retiring because
this is scarier. This is scarier theory than all the other theories, and this is mental decline as we know it. Ted Cruz claims that Democrats could parachute Michelle Obama in as a presidential nominee. Now I know I'm guessing he's speaking figuratively, but unless I want to see that literally, I want to see them parachute Michelle Obama in
from a C-130
into the Democrat National Convention.
Yeah,
float down on a I mean, he, whatever deserves.
Yes.
To take over the Democrat role.
Chomping on a big old cigar.
Yes.
Follow me, boys.
So this is Ted Cruz's theory. And it's scary and gross. Ted Cruz has claimed Democrats could parachute Michelle Obama into a presidential nominee if his theory of President Biden dropping out of the race holds true. Cruz hosts Verdict with Ted Cruz podcast. Ted Cruz has a podcast? Could you imagine that?
Boring.
That's what we're up against. That's our competition. So here's the scenario. So this is Ted Cruz. Here's the scenario that I think is perhaps the most likely and most dangerous. In August of 24, the Democrat kingmakers jettison Joe Biden and parachute in Michelle Obama. I view this as a very serious danger. Cruz said choosing the former First Lady as the Democratic nominee would be a decision the party could rally behind. Choosing a black woman is a choice that would not disrupt the party or infuriate African American women, which is a critical part of the constituency. Cruz said Obama would garner more Democratic support than any other potential replacement for Biden. I agree with that.
Yes,
unfortunately, I agree with that, including VP Harris. Gavin Newsom, Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, and Senator Elizabeth Warren. Michelle Obama, because she was First Lady, has the ability to kind of parachute in above all four and say, hey, we're not picking among any of you. You guys can all fight it out next time. I think in terms of solution that unifies Democrats, there ain't nothing like that. I also think Michelle is not all that eager to run for president. Obama becoming the Democratic nominee for the 2024 election is incredibly unlikely to happen despite Cruz's comments. She has repeatedly said on record she does not want to run for president. No one well said over and over that he didn't want to run for president. Donald Trump. Now, this was September 22nd that he made these.
Okay.
And he said she's the only one to reunite the party.
And I can see
reunify the party. I think now more than ever, they're going to be looking for they have to find somebody to unify the party.
Yeah.
And
Hillary's sitting there like, ooh, pick me.
Nobody's going to pick her. They're going to have to reunify the party or the party's dead.
Right.
it at least is completely split into two factions.
Yes.
Maybe won't even call themselves the Democratic Party anymore.
Yeah.
You got to get somebody to reunify them.
Yes.
I mean, Obama has taken more of a maybe Israel shouldn't blow up all the fucking people over there. Like Barack Obama said, like came out, was just like maybe they should think twice before doing that, before they cross that line. He hasn't come out and like
been a big proponent of the two-state solution.
Right. So, I mean, and the fact it's Michelle Obama, people would vote for her just because it's fucking Michelle Obama.
Right. She got all the good speeches in the DNC.
What is your opinion of a Michelle Obama presidency?
Yeah, like I said, I called it. I mean, obviously it's not reality yet, but I don't think they have anybody else they could go to.
There's nobody.
There isn't.
Because
Democrats, there's no stars in the Democrat that isn't controversial.
Well, there's no stars that aren't either A, super ultra progressive, or B, super freaking moderate white dude. Like, I mean, I would say Gavin Newsom's progressive, but he's still not
outside of California.
He's not what those progressives are looking for.
Right, exactly. They need to step outside the white guy persona.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And Kamala Harris ain't going to do it because she's not progressive.
No.
She's a former cop.
Right, yeah.
Like she's against everything that the progressives have rallied against.
Yeah. And she's proven herself incompetent over and over again.
Michelle Obama?
Yeah.
Nobody fucking
she's
knows.
A darling.
She's the Black Jackie O.
Yeah, right. She is the definition of the backup quarterback. Yeah.
Are we doomed if that happens though?
I mean, it's the same policies of Obama and Biden. I mean, she would just continue that
because Obama had to pull us into his policies. He had to set the course of Obama politics.
Yeah.
Biden's kind of tried to continue the Obama politics. Michelle has the footing set for her.
She's all in.
She doesn't have to drag us into a world of Obama politics.
Right. She just has to kind of
just has to step into it.
Yeah.
And the worst case scenario is if Donald Trump comes back and reverts things back, like gets rid of some of those Biden policies.
Yeah.
And then Michelle has to come in and pull it back Biden had to. Maybe they threw Biden in there to kind of be the guy that gets shat on a bit. His reputation gets shat on to get it back to where it needs to be. To bring in Michelle O.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no way in hell that Biden is running for a second term.
No, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
I don't think he can now.
No, he can't.
I don't. Again, if this war continues, Biden stays with his pro-Zionist rhetoric, and then the squad sticks with their pro-Hamas or whatever rhetoric, or at least not anti-Hamas rhetoric. It's just going to rip them completely in half, and Biden has no chance, no freaking chance to win with the progressive left.
Right.
I think this is his nail in his coffin right here.
Yeah.
And absolutely. I think there's probably it's probably intentional. It's like, well, we can't have him just step down because of old age, because then everybody will say, I told you so.
Right.
We can't have him go out for a Hunter Biden scandal because everybody will say, I told you so.
Right.
And that'll make us look like shitheads too. All of us that supported him and said, oh, don't look at the Hunter Biden stuff.
Right.
But we know we can get this divide because, I mean, we just stick with our typical American stance of pro-Israel all the time, no matter what. But we know we got these super progressives, up and coming super progressives over here that have not been silent about their lack of support, less than support for Israel. This can be the one that he can go out with dignity because he's just sticking to the U.S. roots of being pro-Israel,
and he can't help it because he's white. So
obviously.
He's got pro-colonial.
Exactly. And he's old.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He was there when it started.
Last question. We're going to get out of here. That's about all I got. A lot of mental illness in this episode.
Obviously.
Speaking of mental illness, if Michelle Obama runs for president,
Mm-hmm.
does Michelle Obama finally come out as transgendered? Is that, I mean, maybe that's what she has been waiting for. Don't want to run for president until the world is ready for my coming out party.
Yeah, I can see it. Absolutely. That's the next step, right?
You think so?
Yeah.
I could see it. She's like, I just want to announce that I'm running for president, and I used to be a dude.
Let me hold on while I take something out.
Jesus. Good God. Good for him. Her, I don't know.
Yeah, power.
Yeah, more power to you, I guess. Is the world ready for a transgender Michelle Obama? Is the world ready to hear that yet? You think so?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
at this point,
what,
does anything surprise you?
The first gay couple in the White House, right?
Yeah, they were.
Yes.
And then this.
Yes.
That'd be quite. We'll have to do a special episode if that happens.
Yeah.
And we're just going to be sitting here with our jaws dropped for like 2 hours. Like,
yeah.
I got nothing.
Yeah. It's
Got
like,
nothing.
I knew he was the woman in the relationship.
Not saying Michelle Obama's a dude.
Yeah.
If Michelle Obama is in fact a transgender dude.
Yeah.
And outs herself as a transgender dude.
Yeah.
Does Michelle Obama win the presidency, or does that hurt Michelle Obama?
I don't think
in the election?
I don't think it would. I don't think it would.
No?
No.
Maybe that's the level of progression we need in this country to bring the Democrats back together. Because
I think that's what they're hoping for.
Even the moderate Democrats can't utter the words, you can't run for president because you're transgender. At this point, they just can't do it. They can't do it.
Yes.
They can say they're pro-Israel all they want, but they can't say you can't be president because you're transgender. They can't. So maybe that's the defining moment that reunites Democratic Party is when Michelle Obama comes out as a dude.
Yeah. The Democratic Party jumps the shark.
That would be it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do we do if Michelle Obama wins as a transgender?
Yeah, what can you do at that point? I mean, that's just what we all are, right?
We all are transgender, Michelle
Obamas? No. I mean, that's just the way the country has gone at that point.
Every one of us has a little piece of Michelle Obama in all of us.
And Brock gets a little of Michelle in him all the time.
Brock gets a lot of Michelle in him all the time. On that note, on that happy mental instability note,
yeah, we've come full circle.
We went somewhere with this. Let us know what you think.
Definitely off the rails.
Right. Let us know what you think of all this. What do you think about our current political situation? I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
If I could see both parties just completely rip themselves to shreds as they are, I'm fine with that. I don't want to see Michelle Obama reunify the Democratic Party.
No.
In whatever way they choose to. But I feel like that's probably the most likely scenario in all of this.
Well, again, I can't think of anybody else they could.
And everything has been late. Maybe the whole Israel war was just to get Joe Biden to say he's pro-Israel so we could push him out and usher in the era of Michelle Obama. And then as soon as Michelle Obama announced like the war stops and goes away, it's just like, just joking, we weren't actually fighting. We just needed a reason for Joe Biden to go away.
Wow, Michelle Obama brought us together too.
That's probably it. It's got to be it. You got any final thoughts?
God help us all.
That's about all we can say. Make sure you check us out all over the social medias. Give us your opinions, your thoughts, specifically on Michelle Obama.
Yes.
And
do we have any more doomsday prophecies? Like, remember
I thought that was doomsday prophecy.
That is doomsday.
I haven't seen.
That's the fourth horse.
Yeah. Make sure you leave somewhere in a comment or on the social medias your prediction on the month and the year that World War III will officially kick off.
And if Michelle is announced in August of 2024,
we're taking polls.
Yes.
And whether or not
remember,
other stuff
next Wednesday is when Ukraine is offered
Oh yeah.
European membership.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Social medias, guys. Check us out. Share us far and wide across the social social landscape. Our handle on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is at Break the Bell Pod. You can also hit up our website at www.breakthebellpod.com. Find links to everything we do. Find kick-ass merchandise and buy that shit. Support us. And just keep listening to us. That's all I have. I fully, utterly disgusted myself with the end of this conversation. I want to go take a shower and like burn my eyes with acid.
Yes.
And put on hearing aids.
Yes.
So I can listen to the CIA.
Pedophile talk.
I'm not going to listen. That sounds so wrong. We're going to get out of here. We're going to get out of here. Have a great rest of your week. We'll catch you sometime. Oh, did we get a final last-minute comment?
Yes.
Derek says, May 8th, 2025. That is my birthday, Derek.
Oh,
God forbid
you
predict that World War III kicks off on my birthday or August of 2024.
Well, it'll be a hell of a party.
For the thankful end of all this recession and the beginning of World War III.
Yes.
If World War III kicks off on my birthday, I'm going to celebrate in true fashion.
Yes.
I'll probably shoot guns in the air, get really drunk,
right?
Run naked through someplace. I don't know. I mean, you got at that point, you just have to.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Right?
Yeah, you have to. We'll be back sometime next week. I will post on social media when that will be. Hopefully Tuesday, because Bill is being a bitch and he won't be here.
Gotta work.
He's being a bitch. Have a great rest of your week. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Goodbye.
The Break the Bell podcast is brought to you by you. So pat yourself on the back because without you, we would be talking to ourselves. A special thanks to our Patreon members, Justin Zielinski, Remzo Martinez, Stephanie Parker, and T.O. Jacobson. A shout out to our sponsors, Run Your Mouth Coffee, the On the Run podcast, and Goulash Media. If you'd like to help support us, visit patreon.com/breakthebell or buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Get back here next week and let us continue to invade your ear holes. And as always, never stop talking.